My wife and I have opted for value addition, which we are just starting. We have chosen to harvest and take all our harvest for processing into wine. We might get we might go into the market maybe 3 years from now, 2 years from now, but at least it is value addition, and we are assured when you have processed these grapes into wine, it doesn't go bad. It goes adding value and taste year by year. So we are also venturing into that direction. My name is Ham Ahimbisibwe. I'm born from the village of Kabingo in Nyarubungo Ward in Mbarara City South Division, Mbarara City. I'm a teacher by profession, and I'm still teaching. I chose to start this garden of grapes in 2017. That's when we acquired this plot of land. We prepared it, and by 2018, the crops were already growing. And we got the first harvest in 2019. And for 5 years now, we've been having an improvement season after season. And it is a good venture because once you have established the garden, this vine cannot expire or dry up. It keeps on growing and increasing production, even if it stays for 100 years. Some vines are known to have been growing even for 200 years. These grapes are like a gift to some of these places that look abandoned and otherwise unproductive, because it's not easy to grow other crops here. But more importantly, we were taught about grapes growing by a certain man who had done it for some time, called Mr. Saras Kamanyiro. And we discovered that once you have grown grapes, the crops can stay for many, many years, and you keep harvesting every season. So we found that it could be a lifelong engagement, an activity that would help us get money to supplement our income on job, and in any case, it would stay forever. And when you look at the permanent nature of the crops and the project, then we feel it is worth going into. And in any case, once we have market, you find that you can really earn sufficient money to supplement our family income. And so far, it's not doing badly. And in any case, every year, it will keep increasing the production. So we expect much more income from this project. So it is very exciting. And even when it's a dry season, it doesn't task us like other crops. It does not really suffer from the dry season. It will always keep fresh. You can see the fruits are growing, and even if it's dry, even if there is no water, at least it's a crop that is drought resistant, and that is something interesting about it also. When you observe closely the stem, you find it has a very thick, dry coating, which prevents it from losing water. And the roots of this crop go deep into the rocks, and they extract water to sustain it. And after the harvest, which is the normal practice to have production here, you have to remove all the leaves and leave it bare, so that it stores the water until you decide to prune to prepare for the next flowering season. So that way it remains green, and I think it is the nature of the crop largely. And I imagine if, of course, we had irrigation, perhaps it would do a lot better. But naturally, these grapes do not suffer when it's a dry season. When you are starting it, it requires a lot, because as you can see, this is a place that is hilly. You don't bring tractors here. It is full of stone, and it means that those people working on this farm have to charge a lot of money. So establishing a garden is expensive, because you have to use special tools. You have to use a lot of people who are very committed and know what to do. transportation of initial manure is not easy. Digging pits for planting is not easy, they're expensive. But the good thing is that once you have established the garden and the crops are growing, you will not have much more to put in apart from spraying and pruning and caring for them. It is expensive to establish, it's true, but given the permanent nature of the project, at least once you have established, then you are good to go. For our case, and as we've known from elsewhere, at least 1.5 years, those are 18 months. You can get the first harvest, which is not always good or big, but as time goes on and as the branches of the vine multiply with the regular pruning, then you can really get much more. The challenges are especially the natural hazards. There are diseases that infect the crop, especially at flowering stage, and once the disease has established itself, then that season is gone. So we do preventive spraying. There are very many ways of preventing this. We spray in time, and by the time the flowers are established to have the small fruits, the diseases will be prevented. That is one challenge of diseases. And then there are pests, especially when the grape is ripening. The birds are a menace. If you don't get people enough to scare away the birds, you'll not pick any fruit. They'll just peck at them and all of them will be gone. Then we also have the natural hazards like wind. When wind blows heavily, these crops can all go down, and especially those who put on racks, they can collapse and you get nothing. Then also keep praying that hailstorm doesn't come. If it rains, then it can be a menace. But rather, those are the challenges. And these poles you see here need constant checking. They grow old and fall, so you have to keep replacing. And they are not cheap either. Buying these poles, then transporting them, and all that. But largely, it is a project that is engaging, but at the same time rewarding. As you could have seen, we have many people who work on this garden, and we pay them. My manager, whom you have seen, is a neighbor here. He does this as full-time work with his family members, with other neighbors. They come in, weeding, caring for the crop. Then others have to sell the poles to us, others sell manure to us. And if, for example, with my manager, I have to support his family, I sponsor some of his children in school, just as a motivation for him to work. And people earn money from around. So that is how the community is benefiting from. And visitors, sometimes people see visitors, they interact with them. Those who have a few things to sell by the road, then they also get market.
Is there a market?
Yes, sure. We have mainly two sources of market. One is for vendors who come and pick the grapes for vending on the streets or in hotels. Those ones are very specific. They do a lot of sorting when they are picking, so their market is not always sufficient, but it's the commonest. They come and buy a kilo at 2,500 at least. Then there are some few, very few established factories, wineries, which buy from us, but they don't give the best price. Those ones can buy at 1,800 or 1,500. That's quite miserable. So for us, my wife and I have opted for value addition, which we are just starting. We have chosen to harvest and take all our harvest for processing into wine. We might get we might go into the market maybe 3 years from now, 2 years from now, but at least it is value addition, and we are assured when you have processed these grapes into wine, it doesn't go bad. It goes adding value and taste year by year. So we are also venturing into that direction. Maybe 2 years in future, we shall be ready enough to hit the market with original wine from original grapes, no concoction. So we are very sure when we come to the market, when we have established all the requirements and we are by law certified to go to the market, we shall appear somewhere, I'm sure, and we shall go big. As you've heard my last statement, our future plan is to go into wine production. Much as we are starting, we are not yet there. We've not gone far with the required machinery, but the skill and the process at least are in place, and we have experts who are already helping us, and we hope to go big with time. So our future plan is to have some winery. It can come in maybe at a low scale to begin with, but at least we shall have to go into wine production. Secondly, we are looking at expanding our vineyard to make it so big to sustain our wine production, because as you can see, you can't go everywhere picking every grape from anywhere, because some are not to the standard, and that can lower the quality of the wine. So we are looking at expanding our garden, at improving the productivity of this garden by adding manure, and if we can have means of having irrigation so that all the time the production goes up. And we are also looking at influencing the community around to make sure those who have even the smallest pieces of land up in these hills really go into grape growing, so that we attract the market and possibly funding, especially that there is an association starting. Maybe there can be some cause for a processing unit to help these farmers. But again, we hope when we influence all the families around and they go into growing grapes, that will be boosting income. And for us, we even have a plan of nursery bed, because these crops were processed by ourselves. To have the seedlings, there is some technology you use and you get the seedlings. So we shall go into that so that we are ready to supply others who are growing. And even in other regions, we wish to have all these people staying in Hire or Hire places, from Isinjiro down through Wampara and Tungamo, they can go into this venture. So we encourage people to come, check and see how we started, and they also use their land, which has otherwise been abandoned or considered to be unproductive, so that we can boost our income and maybe build our country. Certainly, one way is, as I hinted, the Ministry of Agriculture promised to give us another variety of table grapes so that we can have an alternative. It is always not good to keep your eggs in one basket. This is just one variety that is for wine production. And as you can notice, we don't have an established factory close by, which is owned by the people to go into wine processing. So we feel we need to go into that program.